Okay, you can unmute your mic perhaps.
Yes.
Hi, so let's take it as a conversation. First of all, how many times do you like to speak in public often?
Yes, I do.
All right, okay. Because it is shown, I wrote here that you have a very confident way of presenting yourself in the video. So it shows that you have quite a lot of experience speaking in front of the public, and that's a great thing. And also, you know how to present well. So, like, because this is video, you know that you could add a lot of information regarding to your speech. For example, like you putting pictures on your right or on your left, and then and which is very interesting because it makes people understand easily of what you're trying to convey. So yeah, that's another plus point for me. Other thing is, it's not easy to present the way you present, even for people that are way older than you. So congratulations, that's a plus point. You should know that it's one of your, perhaps it's one of your passion as well, but you also need to know that that is one of your skill or talent even. So you should train that, exercise that even more often. So very nice way of presenting. You have a very confident and the way and what I like most
It
about the
is
topic. This is
shown.
actually a very
I wrote here
very general
that you
topic.
have a
Social media is
very
a very
confident
general
way
topic. Everyone can actually
of
speak
presenting
about
yourself
social media,
in a
but the fact
video.
that
So
you're
it shows that
um,
you have quite a lot of
making
experience speaking in front of the public.
abbreviation, I think it's wise. Wise. W means something. I mean something like that. It is very catchy, and again, it's very easy for people to grab. There are several techniques, techniques in copywriting. One of them is to make abbreviations in order to make people understand easily of what we are trying to say, and you just implemented that in your presentation, in your speech. So I don't know whether you did it on purpose, as in like you have learned it before, or it was an accident. But nevertheless, that was a great technique that you and everyone else has actually could use. Um, you like to smile, and which is it's suitable with the message. So that's another plus point. But again, whether you want to smile or you don't want to smile, it depends on what message that you're trying to deliver. Here in your speech, putting smile is very suitable. So I have to also congratulate you for that, for knowing how to give the right expressions in your speech. And also you have used a lot of gestures. You were doing this, you're doing this, and which is also good because you that means you're exploring yourself in presenting. But perhaps I would like to ask you to take it just a little bit down a notch, just you know um because eventually what you want people to hear is the message, and we are the medium to get the message delivered to the people. And sometimes I'm an active person as well, so I like to move a lot, like so much, and that can be distracted at some point. So perhaps for different um, types of for different themes, you could just a bit more easy on the gestures. But here on this particular topic, I think it's still suitable. And oh, I know that you have text in front of you, but and I've seen everyone's video, by the way. One thing that I would like to share to everyone, especially to you, is you deliver. You delivered. You did not read. Some of the participants here, they're reading, but you don't. You not just read, you delivered, and that is very important because people, especially because this is a video, you have distance with the other people, and by looking at the camera directly, people would feel that you are speaking directly to them. So that's a good thing to have an eye contact. Okay, so you don't just read, you don't just use a flat tone, you have a great intonation, and like you're speaking, like you're talking, and that's a good thing. And of course, um, yeah, I think all in all, congratulations, because to be honest, you're one of my uh, favorite participants because you deliver very well. So congrats on that.
Thank you. I'd appreciate it.
Thank you very much. You're good.
We thank Mr. Lucky for the amazing critique on Natalie's speech. We will continue on to the next participant, which is Dani Nuraini Oceana Putri.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, I am Dani Nuraini Oceana Putri from SMAN 102 Jakarta. I'm here to deliver my speech about how does one's youth affect their future. The title is Youth, the Indicator of Future. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that each of us has 4 stages in our life. The first stage is childhood. The second is youth. The next is middle age. And the last is old age. Each of these phases is a very important and meaningful time of growth and learning, especially and uniquely. Yet, plenty of people believe that youth is the most important sequence in life. As a youth, I also believe that our youth can affect our lives in the future. All actions that we do and all decisions that we make now greatly impact our future. We must acknowledge that to achieve a bright future, we must fill our youth by doing a lot of valuable things and not wasting our time on unnecessary things. A proverb said, "No pain, no gain." It describes the need for effort to achieve success. It may sound cliche, but it is based on real cases. And most hardworking youths have a great future ahead. Examples are the National Science Competitions medalist who got scholarships from world's top universities, and Khairil Tanjung, one of the most famous businessmen in Indonesia. They spent their youth struggling with blood, sweat, and tears to achieve their dreams. On the other hand, youth in Indonesia has still not completely aware of their future yet. They are usually indoctrinated by the tagline, "Youth is the most important chapter of life that should not be missed, and ended up forgetting how their future will be if they only focus on their temporary happiness. They express their euphoria over cigarettes, drugs, alcoholic drinks, and committing violence against others. They do not realize that their actions are harmful to their lives and other people's life at the same time. For instance, there are so many cases of students fighting another groups of students from different schools lately. Some of them get arrested by the police and ended up dropping out of school. It is obvious that they almost have no chance to manage their life and ended up being criminals. All in all, I strongly agree that youth is the most important time in our life. We must value all the moments and enjoy little things in life because they cannot be repeated. But please always remember to think of the consequences before we take any actions. Do not do something that you'll regret in the future. Enjoying your life or constantly destroying your future? You decide. That is all from me. Thank you very much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
That was an amazing speech by Dani about youth. This time we'll allow Mr. Billy to comment about the speech. Mr. Billy?
Hello, Dani.
Hello, Mr.
Oh, can you hear me, Dani? Please on camera, Dani.
My connections lost, I guess. My connections.
I'm sorry.
My network bandwidth low.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you, Dani. Thank you, Dani. Firstly, I'd like to give correction of your speech. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. But you have to. This is your lesson. I hope someday will be great speaker because your English is very excellent. First.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay. You must take a note about my explanation. First, if you want to deliver your like the speech like that, it is called essay, academic speaking or writing speaking. In writing speaking, that means that you have the step how to write that speaking. First, definition, and secondly, test statement, what you are going to talk about, and topic sentence. In topic sentences mean you have to give the detailed information, the fact of the examples. Okay. Okay, thank you. And then, Dani, because suppose your purpose, what is your purpose to deliver your speech? Actually,
I want to spread the information about not wasting our time on unnecessary things such as doing violence to others. As in my schools, in my school, in my surrounding neighborhood around my school, there are so many cases about schools fighting about school students fighting another students from another schools, and there are so many victims of it. So I want to spread the information about not to do those actions again.
Okay, thank you, Danny. More than I think give information, that means you have to encourage or to persuade your listeners. So suppose you are the special one in in our country from the government person, for the youth department. That means you have to make sure. You have to make sure by face you have give the special donation, so they youth want to commit like that. That is my correction of the presentation. Make sure, because it's very important to our country, I think. Particularly, you have already faced like that in your surrounding, to make sure then to encourage or to persuade them. This is my correction of that. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you very much.
That you have already given given your presentation. The best positive thing, try to make sure. Now, you may keep on learning how to write down your speaking academic. Listen up. This is called speaking academic or writing academic. Writing academic related to speaking academic. Thank you, Mr. MC.
Thank you to Mr. Billy also for the amazing critique. I quite love how she manages to present Indonesian problem actually with an English twist. But with that, we'll continue on to the next participant, which is Khaira Zahra.
Unless you're Benjamin Button, life starts by being young. Youth. It is a time in our lives where things around us seem to be drastically changing. Also, a time where you and I are most likely to experience our firsts, like first job, first degree, first time getting a boyfriend or girlfriend, maybe. Well, we all go through it. Youth is the foundation, and therefore, it is an important part of our lives. And I think we can all agree that youth will most definitely have an impact in one's future. However, since this part of our lives can have such a great impact on who we'll become, as a youth, this has been a concern. I have been constantly asking myself, am I spending my youth the right way? Because, like everybody else, I want to make sure that I get to live a bright future too. I'm sure many, if not all of you, have asked yourself a similar question about spending your youth or living life in general. I mean, it's scary, isn't it? To imagine yourself not being able to live life to the fullest, or taking a wrong turn somewhere in life and losing all the great opportunities you once had in your way. This idea of living in regret is horrible. And to save ourselves from ever living this nightmare, we often do things, or rather not do things, to prevent ourselves from making mistakes. Although, in reality, as you may already know it, mistakes are inevitable. It naturally comes as a part of being human. And this fear of failure and of regret is what's truly holding us back from exploring and maybe even reaching our greatest potentials. But I do understand. I understand that it takes time. It may even be difficult to gather the courage for taking chances or trying new things. I know that it's not always easy, but try and see it this way. I once heard a conversation between a father and a boy, his son. The boy asked his father, "Hey dad, what lies on top of that mountain?" And the father said, "Why don't you climb it and find out for yourself?" And then this little boy, with a worried tone in his voice, asked again, "What if I fall off?" "Well, you'll find out what lies at the bottom." You see, what I'm trying to tell you is that throughout our youth, we will learn a lot of things through our experiences. The good ones and the bad ones, our rises and our falls. Try to see the world as a classroom, and with every experience, with every encounter, and particularly our mistakes, we discover more of ourselves in so many amazing and unexpected ways. I am also yet to discover more of myself. And this way of thinking in conclusion, your youth important to live your youth in a good way. By this I mean being conscious and wise with making choices, being able to learn from your youth and to implement that knowledge later in life is really what matters most. Besides, though our past may shape who we are, it is the present that defines us. So, live life by making the most of this moment.
Another amazing speech, this time from Kaira. This time we allow Mr. Gito. What's your take on this speech?
Hello, Keira. Is Keira here? Yeah, right. How are you, Keira? Doing good?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
All right. So here we go. First of all, I would like to mention two things that I adore from your speech. The first is the content. I really like the content. It's all clear. Everything I need is there. Or the explanations are absolutely make sense. And also, I would like to underline the example that you gave to us, the conversation between the dad and the boy. That was absolutely exhilarating. I enjoyed it. Something about like, climbing and then falling off. That's really smart. And then your conclusion. It's really important after all. And then all good. And I have some advices over here. You sound really relaxed by the time you deliver your speech. However, you need to get your speed match with your emotions. Yeah, there are some parts of the words or the sentences that you should try to pronounce it a little bit harder, and there are times that you should be faster. So it's like if there is a traffic jam, you need to be slowly a little bit. And if the roadway is empty, you need to be a little bit faster, you know? So it's about the speed. You need to get your speed match with your emotions, okay? That's it. And then for the next one, I'd like to mention the performance. The performance. You moved your hand nicely. That's really important. And I also noticed the movement of your eyebrows. So it enrich your expressions, your facial expressions. So it's really helpful and beneficial for us because, you know, when you try to provide lots of emotions on your face, it adds extra points for viewers understanding about the things that you are speaking about, you know, and that was really great. And after all, I would like to say thank you for participating and have a great day. That's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you for your input, sir. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Anwan's speech actually, I quite agree with the message, and it's very relatable, and I enjoy watching it and hearing about it. But next up, we have Muhammad Yasid Razaki as the next participant in today's event.
Good morning. Today, I'd like to talk about how one's youth affects their future. I'd like to talk about how my youth affected my future, and I'd like to give a little motivational speech for you all. I grew up in a very loving family with a father, a mother, and a little brother. I also had many friends growing up. My parents always wanted the best for me and my brother. Growing up, my parents always tried to give the best education to me and my brother. I had a very fulfilling childhood, and I consider myself very lucky. I'm very grateful for everything my parents have done for me. I'm grateful for everything they've taught me. I'm grateful for every ounce of support they gave me. But I'll be honest, when I was a kid, I was a little bit of a brat. I cried whenever I didn't get something I want. I cried whenever I got hurt and all that jazz. I'm glad that phase was over. Phew. Although I was a pretty lazy kid, my parents always taught me the value of hard work. They never shy away from hard work, especially my dad. One thing I appreciate my parents for doing is allowing me to get hurt. What I mean by that is, they want me to experience the hardships in life. They taught me how hard it is to get money, and they even let me fall for a scam once. I learned my lesson after that. In the past few years, I've learned a lot about life. I know that life is not all sunshine and rainbows, and I know that life at times can be very unfair. I'll admit, at some point this year, I felt very lonely and very lost, and I felt like I didn't have a purpose in life. I wasn't getting good scores, I had no idea what I want to pursue. Seeing a lot of my friends doing what they love, seeing them already having a college that they want to go to, seeing them already having a plan for their life, I just felt very lost. And I'm grateful for all of my friends and family for being there for me, but a lot of the time, I felt like I was at war with myself. So I started asking myself, when you wake up, what is your purpose? What is the thing that keeps you going? What is the thing that drives you? What are the dreams that you have? How are you going to achieve them? What do you want for yourself? What do you want for your future? All these questions circled around my head until I finally got sick of it. The one thing I learned is that you have to have the right mindset. Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. But the thing about your brain is that it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes your brain works together with you, and sometimes your brain will go in and out of its way to go against you. Oh, I can't do it. It's impossible. Oh, I'm not good enough. Being fearless is living despite those things that scare you to death. When you think to yourself, when you change your perspective, when you open your eyes, I guarantee you will find a solution. Oh, I'm not good enough. I have to study. I have to watch more tutorials. I have to practice and practice and practice and practice until I become good enough. So what I did was I tried to fix the habits that I think are distracting me from my goals. I haven't been gaming a lot the past few months. I still game from time to time, but I started exercising more, usually waking up at 4 a.m. to do an early morning jog. I can proudly say I can do 5 consecutive push ups. I found an interest in photography and I've been enjoying it. I've also been taking a lot more risks, like joining this competition. When my friend Rafi asked me if I knew anyone that would be interested in joining the speech competition, the first thing I said was, yeah, I'm interested. I've never been a good public speaker, but if I wanted to change, I have to take that risk. Osho Rajneesh once said, the greatest fear in the world is the opinion of others. And the moment you are unafraid of the crowd, you are no longer a sheep. You become a lion. A great roar arises in your heart, the roar of freedom. A sheep lives in a flock. They live with fear of being eaten and fear of being killed every day. A sheep does not lead, and a lion does not follow. The lion is the king of the jungle, not because of its size, not because of its speed, but because of its bravery. That is what makes the lion the king of the jungle. The person you are today is the result of the person you were yesterday, and the person you are today determines who you will be tomorrow. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, the future depends on what you do today. You have to take control of your mind and do the things you set out to accomplish. Do not give up. Be fearless in what you want in life. Work hard. If you do not have a goal in life, you search for it. If you've already tried over and over and over again, but you still do not have the results that you're looking for, you keep going. You have to be hungry for what you want in life. The moment you stop is the moment you lose the game. You are the only one responsible for your results. Thank you.
A philosophical speech by Yazid this time. Mr. Lucky, we eagerly wait your critique on his speech. But before that, Mr. Lucky, we'd like to apologize because Yazid can't open his camera at the moment. So,
No worries. Hi, Yazid.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello.
All right. Are we good now?
Yeah, hello.
All right. Can you hear my voice clear enough, Yazid?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Pardon? Sorry?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Noted. Okay. First of all, thank you for giving that speech. For me personally, that speech was very moving. So the first thing that I wrote here is it was a very interesting topic and very much relatable, not only by young people. Hopefully, I'm still considered as young people, but I think it is also relatable for everyone. That is a very, if I may be honest, it's quite difficult topic to be talked about, but in my opinion, you could nailed it very well. And I like some of your vocabularies, choices of vocabularies, like all that jazz is something that is not used by a lot of people. So I don't know whether you did it on purpose again, or it's just something that accidentally you said during your speech. But I think that was a very good hook. It made people like, okay, interesting, made that jazz and all that jazz, something that is not used by a lot of people. So yeah, you got my attention there. That's number one. And I know that you know that you could speak well, especially that I know that you know that you have a good pronunciation in English. I know that you realize that. And you are having a great English pronunciation, if I may be honest. But if I may add some notes for you, um, first of all, did you stand up when you were recording the video, or did you sit? Yeah, is it? Hello? Yeah. When you were recording your video, did you sit or did you stand up? All right. So if you sit, I would suggest you to stand up because I I could see that it will be a lot easier for you to explore your gesture even more. In your video you were giving some gestures, not that much, but when you did it, you gave on the right moment and using the right gestures, like you give a punch, for example, or pointing your head when you said about your brain, our brain, you were pointing your head, something like that. It was all right, but I think you could still use a lot of more gestures to show, because it's like you're still hiding in your shell. Like you want to go out there, but not 100%. So just stand up and just, I think, giving more confident, because it is shown in the video that you are confident but not there yet. So like giving not 100%, but perhaps like 75 or even like 80, like close, like the title of a song, right? Close is never enough, because it's just like this much more, and then you'll nail the presentation, because it's a very great topic, and the way you deliver it is very convincing. Also, I think another suggestion is you should open your mouth more. So you have a good intonation, but if you practice it even more, then people would be able to hear you even clearer. So you could open your mouth. So there is this exercise to exercise your mouth, to relax your mouth before you speak. It's called lion face, where you have to open it widely and then mention the vowel like a, I, U, A, O, something like that. You should do it again and again, several times before you start to speak. And that is something that you could also do, because if you open your mouth more, then you could deliver more those speech and those vocabularies even clearer. Also, you could use smile once in a while, because I believe I think in your speech there were some part where you could smile, and you could use pause to give more dramatic effect. So you're talking like da 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 da, and you know what? This, something like that. So you could pause to use dramatic effect to grab the attention of the people. Also, when you said that you're not exactly a good public speaker, well, I think differently. I think you are on your way to be a good public speaker. So congratulations. Very interesting topic, but when you add more in your presentation, I think you'll nail it. So great.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
You're most welcome.
Thank you for the critique, Mr. Lucky. I quite agree with some points that Mr. Lucky gave. I really like how Yasit brought this idea up, even though it's a difficult topic. But next we have Zinani Al Givari for the next participant.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon and greetings to all of us. You're honorable to all of the judges. You're honorable to all the audience. Hello, my name is M. Zinang Yufari, and I'm from SMA Negeri 1 Jakarta. Ladies and gentlemen, on this occasion, I will discuss the mindset of today's young people. Do you know what mindset is? Mindset is the basic foundation of person's success. It is impossible for someone to be successful if they do not have a mindset of successful person. There are many ways that can be used to successful mindset in yourself. one of which is by reading self-development books. And to become people who develop, we need to have broad insight. Apart from reading, we can also do this by trying new things and, of course, positive things. I have a case example for this, where this case is really real, namely from a close friend of mine. I've known him since junior high school to high school. He's a very cheerful person, smart, and you could say my rival in middle school. He also a person who likes to take part in competition in non-academic fields, such as material arts and theater at school. However, when he and I turned out to be in the same school again, in high school, of course I felt very happy because I had friends who had known each other for a long time, from junior high school. And he too feeling this. He arrived in class 10 and he decided to want a girlfriend. And finally, then I as a friend, is of course, I can only give him a smile instead of a congratulation. Then I often see him and his girlfriend together in the class. I don't know what they do, but yeah, even great now. According to me personally, no, from personally, he has changed a bit and is different from before. I happen to be in the same organization as him at an extracurricular, so I do meet him often. His previously cheerful personality has now become a sad person and really different. And his performance and extracurricular also very low. And not long after that, I immediately asked to him to talk him alone. Then I immediately rebuked in him well and found out the reason why he become like this. Basing is now his mindset. It's very different contrary to the previous one. He said that since dating, he has become more overthinking, sad, and always fails to focus on studying. And he also very insecure when his economic situation is lower than his girlfriend. And is always confused about what he wants to do. Feels sad, but he also doesn't know what he wants to do. But I immediately tried to understand his feelings and also give a solution to this problem. And the main problem was indeed since he was dating. But the most important thing was his mindset. But he always felt insecure, sad, hopeless, confused, and from here we are now that the mindset is one of main key for a person to live. If we have a good mindset, are optimistic and so on, of course our life will not feel that the name is hopeless, insecure, and other. But if we have a mindset that is not right, we will definitely experience it, whose name is sadness, breakup, even depression. Ladies and gentlemen, as time goes on, the world will continue to change. Therefore, we humans are required to have developed mindset. When you have a mindset that just stays in the place, the risk of experiencing failure in achieving prosperity in life will increase. This growth mindset is known as the growth mindset. The growth mindset is mindset or belief that the basic abilities possess and be developed and improved through dedication and hard work. And from now on, we must be able to admit on perfection, face challenge boldly, develop strength, correct weakness, accept critical only, appreciate the process, and learn from the mistake of others. We must be able to do that because if not ourselves, who else? So that's all from me. Thank you for your attention and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
That was a quite relatable topic brought on by Zidan. We allow Mr. Billy this time to comment on this speech. Mr. Billy?
Good evening, Jidan. Jidan?
Good morning.
No, good morning.
Hi, sorry. Good afternoon. I'm
No,
sorry.
good evening now. Almost evening now. Okay, good evening. Okay. Thank you, Jidan. Take relax, yeah. Thank you, Jidan. Jidan, hello. Can you on camera, please?
I'm sorry for now. I'm in the place, but this is so loudly. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you, Jidan. Okay, Jidan, I'd like to give attention of your speech first. Your content. Your content, you have to make sure what you are going to talk about. This is philosophy of the speech. And secondly, I'd like to give your fluency. I don't know about that. Your fluency, that's mean because it is whether you could master your presentation, you have to make sure your face or your eyes. Okay. And secondly, you have to give attention, special word or special tensions, mindset of the youth now. So the audience are taking your presentation. Oh, like that. Young youth must be like that. You have to give point per point, maybe just 3 points, but you have to elaborate it. Okay. And then your performance, you must make sure about your eye context, because it's very related to all of the. I have already given you the rubrics of the your presentation. Thank you, Mr. Jidan. Please keep practice. Maybe someday you will be special one in your country. But since now, you have to practice and learn how to deliver your academic speech. Listen, your academic speech. In academic speech, there must be implemented in academic writing. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Mr. MC.
Thank you, Mr. Billy, for the amazing critique on the speech. But next up, we got Malik Faras Alfarazo.
Good day, honorable judges, and to everyone who sees this video. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Malik Faras Alvaro, and I'm from 27 Senior High Schools, Jakarta. I hope you are feeling as amazing as I am today, and I hope you guys are safe and the best. Today, in this very, very beautiful morning, I am going to deliver my speech about the good, the bad, the social media. We all know what social media is. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, almost everyone we met has their own social media, whether it's our friends or our family. We all live on our online presence, and social media are its foundation. According to a survey in 2021, over 4.26 billion people were using social media worldwide. The number of social media users is getting higher because one of the factors that we have been experienced lately, namely the pandemic. As I said, the arrival of this pandemic makes the use of social media even more. The existence of quarantine and social distancing limits the interaction between person to person directly. And now, ladies and gentlemen, is where the social media comes in. According to the internet, social media is a collective term for websites and applications that focus on communication, community-based input, interaction, content sharing, and collaboration. People use social media to stay in touch and interact with friends, family, and various people. In other words, social media can allow us to interact without having to involve us to meet in one place. Social media allows us to interact from between cities or even between countries online. With this kinds of feature, it's not surprising if this use of social media is increasing during this pandemic. Aside from becoming a tool for long-distance communication, social media also opens up the gates of opportunities for new things. One example is social media opening up many job opportunities. Previously, many people had to use internet for their work, either as salespeople or entrepreneurs. However, the pandemic has transformed businesses, and it has been a huge challenge for many industries and people. Social media have been proven to be the e-commerce avenue that has remained undisturbed by the last year. Companies have taken the advantages of that during the pandemic. Social media marketing spending increased by 74% for businesses with the rise in internet consumption. Not only that, many new jobs appear on social media. For example, entrepreneurs, celebrities, influencers, YouTubers, professional gamers, etc. With the massive and huge global reach, social media are increasingly being used as information of source, including information related to risk and crimes. The current study examines how pieces of information available on social media impact perceptions of source credibility. With the help of influencers, they can provide information to a large audience. Because influencers tend to have huge impact on the internet, ladies and gents. So, with this, social media can also be a source of information. With all the things I've mentioned earlier, ladies and gents, social media is an amazing thing, isn't it? But nothing perfect in this world. Everything has flaws, even social media. Social media might have improved the world, but it also has potential to distract people, transform how they communicate with one another, result in psychological changes or other health issues. Various reports also intel that overusing social media can even hamper students' academic performance, since they waste their precious time on these applications. That's just one of the drawbacks of social media. There are a lot of social media flaws that are more severe than that. Cancel culture, misinformation, racism, security breach is some example of that. Cyberbullying is very common in social media. Cyberbullying is bullying with the use of the digital technologies. It can take place on social media, messaging platforms, gaming platforms, phone. It aims at scaring, injuring, or even shaming those who are targeted. A study by Pew Research Center found that 59% of teenagers who use the internet have been experiencing some form of cyberbullying, compared to only 33% of adults. The psychological effect of cyberbullying can be just as damaging as the physical effects, ladies and gents. The victims of cyberbullying might have experienced a range of negative emotions, such as sadness, anger, fear, and embarrassment. The physical effect of another problem that is not far from cyberbullying is the cancel culture. It's mean canceling or no longer supporting people. Often celebrities slash media or other things that are considered problematic. Cancel culture is becoming increasingly popular because our current society is moving to be more politically correct and inclusive. With the rise of social media, also comes in the rise of confidence in talking about topic people that are less comfortable talking about in person. One example of this cancel culture is James Charles. The problem with James Charles is so viral that after he got cancelled, the influencer's life is no longer the same as before. And thus, all of that concludes the advantage and disadvantage of social media. Although it seems that the disadvantages of social media are very scaring and intimidating, but we must also not forget that social media has very good advantages and also helps many people. We can avoid disadvantage of social media by using the platform wisely. So with that, we must be able to use social media, technology for the better, ladies and gents. With that being said, I am sorry if there is any mistake, and thank you very much.
That speech was from Malik. Very logical and logical speech. If I do say so myself, this time we allow Mr. Gito to comment on the speech. Mr. Gito.
I'm here. Malik Faraz Alfaro, yes?
Yes.
Our voice sound typical, heavy, right? like Maximus Prime. So here we go. First of all, I like to mention that I really adore the way you provide the data to support your idea. And then you also mentioned something like pandemic, Jim Charles, you know, and then the purpose of the social media, and also the way you exemplified how does this social media contributes lots of things to our lives is absolutely incredible. I like that. Probably I could take that as an input for me. Yeah, that's really great. And then for the next one, I also have some advices for you. First, it's about the performance, your eye contact. Eye contact truly matters over here. Yeah. Even though you are reading text, please build some kind of chemistry. Oh my God, chemistry. Are we talking about romance right now? Absolutely not, right? So you need to have more eye contact with the audience, even though you are looking at the camera, but you know, chemistry is really important. And then for the next one, the hands movement, Sometimes some gentlemen feel kind of reluctant to move their hands because it will be considered not masculine, right? A little bit glamorous and glitzy or something. But in speech, please try to be more courageous to use your hands when you try to deliver your speech. And then for the next tips, I need to highlight some pronunciations, especially when it comes to the word world. It's really tricky, everyone, not only for Malik, but to all of us, yeah, especially when we are not native speakers. You need to find the difference between word, weird, world. It's really important, yeah, and also tricky at the same time. So please be careful with pronunciation, especially this word. And for the last one, it's about mentioning some expert's name. You know, you need to not you need to, maybe it will be your best interest to highlight what time this experiment was conducted. The older the experiment was conducted, perhaps it has little relevance with our lives nowadays, right? It's gonna be like, you know, old-fashioned, not really modern. And then you also need to mention the impact of that experience towards you know, social media users. That's really how can I say it, that would be more beneficial, you know. And then for the last one, yeah, I will close this with your calmness during the speech. It's really cool. That's it from me. Thank you very much. And I'll give it back to Ivan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Gito, for the constructive critique on Malik's speech. What I really love about Malik's speech, it was how updated the topic was. I was quite surprised when he brought up cancel culture and James Charles, because I know not everyone's going to get that, but I mean, amazing speech. But next up, we got Karina Azahra as the next participant.
Honorable judges and everyone who sees this video, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I'd like to thank the Almighty God. It is because of him I can make this video for this English speech competition. Secondly, my salawat and salam always be delivered to our Prophet Muhammad SAW. And last but not least, I want to thank the judges and 21 Senior High School for giving me this special opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Karina Zahra and I'm from 27 Senior High School, make this video to deliver my speech. And I hope you all are feeling as amazing as I am right now, and I hope you all are safe from this pandemic COVID-19. And now, I will give you the word that familiar to all of us, global warming and climate change. And one of the biggest reasons why global warming and climate change happen is human behavior. That's it, human behavior. It is because of us. The main threats of climate change stemming from the rising temperature of Earth's atmosphere include rising sea levels, ecosystem collapse, and more frequent and severe weather. Rising temperature for human-caused greenhouse gas emission affect planet-wide system in various ways. And it is very dangerous. Dangerous for us, for our future, and our Earth. There is a lot of cases that affect from global warming and climate change. For example, the island that we step on, Jakarta, will sink someday. Yes, there is a prediction that says Jakarta will sink in 2025. I think everyone has heard of these issues. People say this is just a prediction and we don't have to worry about this. But remember, this prediction will happen if we continue to emit greenhouse gas emissions. The Earth temperature will increase and glaciers will melt. So let's think about our future. What will happen if we don't prevent this? We will die. I know all of us, human, will die someday, but not because of this. Think about our kids, our next generation. How will their life be in the next few years? Maybe in 5 years or 10 years later? And did you hear about the scientists in America demonstrating on the street? They do that because the government and citizens didn't want to listen to scientists. They say this earth will destroy and we will lose everything in 3 years if we don't take action. Can you imagine this beautiful place will be destroyed less than 3 years? Animal will slowly extinct, and maybe one day human, all of us, will also extinct. Do you still this is a joke? After seeing the demonstration of the scientists, that is warning for us. We have to understand, we have to realize that this earth really need a change. Before all of that happen, we have to start. Start from the smallest thing, start from ourselves. We have to take action because action is the key. Change is not a change without action. God gave us this beautiful earth, our safe place, our home. We have to take care of this planet as possible as we can. There are a lot of small things that we can do to help reduce global warming and climate change, such as saving energy at home or school, walking, cycling, or taking a public transportation, eating more vegetables, switch to electric vehicles, or maybe you can also plant a tree, which can reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Remember, small action is still a progress. And at the end of this speech, I want you, all of you who see this video, to do this action. We do this together. We need to save the planet. Let's work for this together. we can still save our planet, we can still save our future. Earth is our home, so please do your best to save our home. I think that's all from me. Thank you for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a great day, everyone.
That speech was from Karina, the most unique one we have so far. Mr. Lucky, what do you think?
Hi, hello Karina.
Hello, sir.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
All right, I have some notes for you. And this is open for conversation. So let me point out one by one. First of all, I in your video, and actually not only on your video, but on several videos of the participants, there are technical issues. So I think anything that is technical related, for example, like this competition today, I would like to suggest you to make sure that it's not going to be a hassle for you when you are doing your video, for example, because here I think your audio is quite low, so I couldn't really hear it clearly, not only on your video but on several videos. So I think you want to make sure on that, and also for the lighting. So again, a suggestion is to make sure all technical issues are already resolved before you take the video, and perhaps you want to try to take one or two videos before you record it and make your speech. Okay, but other than that, you were using eye contact and you are focused to the audience, and that is very good. That's how a speech is supposed to be, to connect, to engage with someone that is right in front of you. You want to make them believe with whatever the message that you're trying to deliver. So eye contact is a must. You have to engage with them. But I believe you did not realize this. You were doing this, remember? Yeah. I hope, okay, it's fine. We make mistakes if we do not make that, and we wouldn't be able to learn. I just would like to say, do not point your finger to the audience, okay? Even though you are trying to deliver a point, but it is better if you're not pointing finger to the audience. Okay? I'm going to say something like very firm. Do not point the finger. Do not point the finger to the audience. All right, and then also try not to read your notes. You have notes on your hand. I would suggest you to have like small notes like what I'm having right now. So I'm having a small notes. I would suggest you to have small notes instead, and write down points. So rather than print out all of your speech, write down the points, because it gives you it helps you to exercise, to explore the words the way you would like to deliver, and everyone is unique. So you'll find your own way, your own identity to deliver when you put on points rather than reading, because it could ended up reading rather than delivering. You have to convince people. Again, you have to move people. That's the whole point of the speech. Okay, I only have 2 minutes. Okay. Try not to read your notes. And then you have a great topic, by the way, a very strong one, but perhaps you would like to try to find different angle to make it more relatable to the audience. When you give speech, you have to also aware to whom you are speaking to. So for example, for this topic, perhaps you should try another angle that is more relatable with the audience. And also, this is again very much technical. Perhaps if it's possible, you and everyone else is here would like to put on attire that is more convenient for you, because when in the video you were wearing your hijab, but it fell some once in a while, so it fell. Yeah,
Okay.
so I know it was distracting for you and perhaps for the audience as well, so I make sure you put on something that is convenient for you and represent who you are, and so that those things are not happening. Those were quite technicals, but I think hopefully it could be tips that you and everyone else here could be used later when they are presenting and doing their public speaking. But overall, good job.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Another constructive critique by Mr. Lucky. I'll definitely use those tips later on, Mr. Lucky. Thank you for that also. Next up, we have Revaluna Amira Mustafa as the next participant.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On this occasion, I will deliver a speech about our challenges against global warming and climate change. As we all know, we must have heard the terms of global warming and climate change. So let's discuss it. As you might not know, global warming is the long-term heating of Earth's surface observed since the pre-industrial period due to human activities, primarily fossil fuel burning, which increases heat trapping greenhouse gas levels in the Earth's atmosphere. Meanwhile, there is climate change. Climate change itself can be defined as a long-term change in the average weather patterns that have come to define Earth's local, regional, and global climates. Global warming and climate change causes many serious problems. As of now, many things are happening due to global warming and climate change, such as the loss of sea ice, melting glaciers and ice sheets, sea levels rise, and more intense heat waves. The impacts of climate change include warming temperatures, changes in precipitation, increases in the frequency or intensity of some extreme weather events, and rising sea levels. Global warming and climate change can result in many serious alterations to the environment, eventually impacting the human health. These impacts threaten our health by the food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe, and the weather we experience. Basically, I grew up with having tons of high clothes around me anywhere I go. And the way it affects on so much things, such as the weather getting hotter and hotter, and not to mention the pollution that's taking over the fresh air that was naturally given to us. People are taking nature for granted until we ran out of the source. Seeing non-visible skyscrapers from the highway made me realize that we're in so much problem that we'll have to deal with no matter what. Global warming isn't something that can create itself. It's something that we did. It's human being deeds. By giving a small amount of help, I can surely know that it'll give such big impacts. Because it's not the quantity, but the thought that counts. As our current generation, there are many efforts that we can do to prevent global warming and climate change. First, educate yourself and others. The importance of educating others about global warming and climate change cannot be overstated in our society. There are many platforms for us to utilize that can allow us to spread our message easily, whether you use word of mouth or social media. Second, be more conservative with energy usage. Becoming energy efficient is a great way to prevent pollution. You should do what you can to cut down energy usage in your households. And third, implementing reduce, reuse, and recycle. This is the best method of managing and handling waste. This can be done by everyone. The concept of reducing what is produced and what is consumed is essential to the waste hierarchy. It invites us to reuse products that have been used. And lastly, recycle. It means a process to converting waste materials into new materials and objects. Recycling can reduce the amount of waste sent to landfills and incinerators. It also conserves natural resources such as timber, water, and minerals. And it saves energy. So, let's protect our nature so that our future can be better. Earth is the God's best gift to us. Let's care for it, save the green, fight global warming. Thank you for your attention.
That was an amazing speech. But sadly, the participant on the video cannot join us at this particular time. But with that said, Mr. Billy, do you have any critique on the speech?
Okay. Good evening, Revaluna. Can you hear me, Revaluna?
Revaluna can't join us at this moment, sir. I'm sorry about that.
Revaluna?
She's not here, Mr. Because she has something that's prevented her from joining the Zoom today. So,
Revaluna, I saw that he has attended.
Yeah, she's attending the Zoom, but she texted to the jury that she cannot, be on at this moment. So we apologize for that.
Though she doesn't attend today, can I give the correction of her, Mr. MC?
Was that Mr. Billy? I couldn't hear you.
Though she doesn't attend here, I'd like to give correction for her presentation.
She did join the Zoom, but again, we don't know if she's on at the moment. As in, like, she can hear us because she said to the, yeah, a little bit. I think she's having technical difficulties more than anything else. That's why she cannot be with us at this moment.
Yeah. You have to understand about situation. Yeah. Sometimes there's problems, particularly in Zoom. Yeah, there's problem. I always face like that in teaching learning process, like that my student. It's okay, I think. But though she doesn't attend today, I like to give her presentation. I think she has good performance here, and then I like to give the content of her presentation. Actually, she must put the point per point to make her presentation becomes interesting, and have to give support based on the thesis statement or based on the thesis statement. Okay, and then I like to give the correction about her. I think she must take special thing about the alarm about the globalization, so the people could understand, and then the people could will not do like that, because the globalization is very dangerous for us. This is my suggestion to the Sirefa Luna, and she because the globalization now is the specific issue for now, because the existence of the people in here based on the global warming. And then actually she put like that again, as the young generation, you must aware about the future of the our country. Of course, not only country, but also universe, I think. It belongs to our future. So we must give attention, particularly the young generation must give attention about the condition of the earth now. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Billy. That was quite insightful. I actually quite agree with the points you made. But next up, we got Nazwa Fauzia.
Youth, not far from being young. Being young is ultimately facing challenges and creating or recreating a space for a future full development. Means you have all the time in the world to create a future that you want. With no doubt, all of us dream to have a bright future, right? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Greetings, honorable judges and my fellow friends. I'm Nazwa Fauzia. Today, I'm gonna present how does one's youth affect their future. While many people are still not aware of the problems in youth, we can't just ignore this matter. Many young people still have a hard time dealing with their problems to reach the future they want. As teenagers, surely we'll always have some problems that are stuck inside our mind. That is, of course, including myself as a teenager. Well, knowing these problems, we can't always avoid them. We don't know when these problems can get into our way of reaching the future that we want. On the other hand, what exactly kind of problems teenagers these days have? Many of you guys should have known because we have seen it a lot in our life. Maybe when you accidentally read it, see it, or even hear it. So, what can be an example of it? One of them is depressions. But what is it that makes us feel depressed? For instance, high expectations. Our parents, teachers, and families place expectations on us. And when we inevitably grow up, we place expectations on ourselves. There is nothing wrong with having expectations. However, the issue with having expectations is our emotions become at risk of spiraling into depressions when outcomes don't meet our expectations. As an example, students in South Korea. Society expects them to have a high grade to get into good college, but these people sometimes forget what expectations did to them. It makes them feel that they need to fulfill these expectations. That's why this matter led to the worst outcome, which is death. Now, other than things that I mentioned before, what other connections we get from that problem? Yes, mental health. As I was saying before about depressions, depressions was connected to mental illness. Knowing this, we need to prevent this thing from happening. Do you guys know why we need to prevent this thing from happening? Because mental illness could cause youngsters to have low self-esteem and self-worth. Isn't it scary how one person could think so badly of themselves like that? This problem could also be the primary cause of suicide. According to WHO, it is estimated that approximately 800,000 people take their lives every year. WHO reported that almost a third of all suicides are committed by young people worldwide. And suicide is the second leading cause of death for people aged 15 to 29. Imagine those people suffering from this mental illness when we actually can help them. We can't prevent them. Imagine if these problems always happen every year. What could happen to a nation's future? This is why we need to know the importance of youth. Our youth can bring social reform and can improve the conditions of society. We cannot make do without the youth of a country. Furthermore, the nation requires their participation to achieve the goals and help in taking the country towards progress. The role of youth is crucial. It does not matter which field we want to progress in, whether it is the technical field, sports field, youth is needed. Now, maybe someday we will be faced by this problem. It could be our family, friends, or someone that is dear to us. Knowing someone that we love was facing this problem, surely we want to help them get through this, right? So, what can we do to help them? One, listen. While this may be a simple solution, listening is a very critical to problem-solving skills. Encourage them to talk about their problems so that we can help them get through it. Two, evaluate the solutions. Help them evaluate the pros and cons of each of the possible solutions. Have them imagine what would happen when they try the solution. Help them omit the options in which the negatives outweigh the positives. It will help them sort out the most promising solution. 3. Mental health awareness. This is one way to educate the public about mental illness. Raise awareness surrounding research and treatments. Reduce the stigma associated with mental illness and celebrate recovery from mental illness. Because of misconceptions and stigmas surrounding mental health issues, people often suffer in silence and don't seek treatment for their conditions. Last one, number 4, psychologists help. Psychologists can help people learn to cope with stressful situations. Having tests and assessments that can help diagnose conditions or tell more about the way a person thinks, feels, and behaves. They can also provide evidence-based psychotherapies such as cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT. Now, as Franklin D. Roosevelt said, we cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. That's all from my speech. Thank you to the honorable judges and my fellow friends for listening to my speech. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Amazing speech again. That one was by Nazwa. Mr. Gito, your take on the matter.
Thank you, Mr. Ivan. So for Nazwa Fauzia, I'd like to go to the opening. It was really great. And the closing, it's also great. And for the content, I would like to add something over here. You mentioned expectations. Expectation can be a dangerous factor for mental health, and it has some connections with psychology, right? Am I right? Ah, okay, right.
Yes.
So the way you elaborate this mental health with stigma in society, that's really great. However, I expect something that has connections with neuroscience, yeah, or something like medical stuff. Perhaps you need to talk about brain cells over there or amygdala or anything, because every component in these things, amygdala, neuroscience, it has some kind of effects toward the way you act, the way you talk, the way you socialize with everyone. That's really important, okay? So for the next time, when you talk about mental illness or something like psychology, please put some more specific information over there. For example, like, you know, brain cells and so forth, okay? And then for the next one, you move a lot, like over here. And I sure of thought, like, what kind of DJ that she's trying to show us to us, I would like to dance too. So for that one, it would be better for you to reduce it a little bit, so we can focus to your facial expression. And for the next one, I like it. Thank you. Get back to Mr. Ivan, please.
We thank you to Mr. Gito for the critique. With all said and done, I quite agree with the message that was being portrayed, because mental illness is a big deal in today's society, I guess. But next up, we get Andra Rifka Aftita for the next participant.
"81% of students, ladies and gentlemen, 81% of students sexual assault in their own school. It shows that almost every underage individual has experienced sexual harassment at least once in their lifetime. When 97% of all women population and 1 in 9 girls under the age of 18 experience sexual assault. This issue took more and more victims every year. And that data, we got it from cases that has been reported, and included the cases that the children and teenagers don't tell their parents about, or the cases that their parents are too ashamed to share to anyone, the unreported case. This high rate of sexual harassment case has proved that children and juveniles are on high risk of sexual assault victims. Their powerlessness, a lack of knowledge, society judgment mostly cause them to get into this situation and choose to be silent. Here we can see that the system in society for the victims to speak up is also broken. How the authorities didn't do their job properly, the law is still not on the side of the victim, or simply the society just that broken until lots of young victims aren't capable to speak up. Good afternoon, honorable judges and friends. I'm Andra Atifa from 27 Senior High School Jakarta. Allow me standing here to moot this issue that human rights has been struggling since centuries ago. If we take a deeper look on those cases, we can find that youngsters not only can easily become the victims of sexual assault, but also the perpetrator. Those young victims are mostly experience sexual assault in school, public transportation, when they're hanging out with their friends, or even family member. For that matter, actually the things that we can do or improve to prevent these adolescent sexual assault cases to happen can be applied to both figures, victims and perpetrators. Let's take a look at, first, education. This high rate of sexual assault case may happen because of the lack of education that school and older people provide for youngsters. By the situation being taboo to talk about, by body parts being something that's too dirty to talk about with others, cause lack of knowledge that the adults don't have about their bodies, their rights about their body, the way to respect theirs and others' body, consent, and etc. They always hear about the consequences that they will face if they got sexually harassed. So cover up when the majority of the sexual assault victims in Indonesia wear long pants and t-shirts when it happened. So don't go home late when they always got catcalled for the 10 minutes walking from their school to go home. Instead, they never being thought of how to prevent it, of when that it can be called a sexual assault, the boundaries that we should set and create to prevent us from harassing others, when we can be called as a victim or perpetrator. They never being thought of what to do when it eventually happened. They never being thought of what action they should take after it happened. This lack of information they got from the education institution have an important role of this high-rate sexual assault case of youngsters. Second, the lack of knowledge about gender equality also take a big role in this issue. Society mostly sees women as an object to satisfy men. 88% of the sexual abuse case perpetrators are men. There are still a lot of cultures that think it is woman's fate to be seduced, to be teased, to be even used by men. So it became a tradition to treat women inappropriately. For instance, how catcalling considered as a man's natural behavior. We can take a look on the news event that happened in Madrid when mass catcalling considered as a college tradition. This event has been occurring since a long time ago, and it became a tradition because of uneducated morality. We can see that they are a college student. It means that they have access to proper education, but still, ladies and gentlemen, they still seems to have a shallow knowledge about women's rights that we have been fighting for years. The thought of men's superiority that's still attached to a lot of people's mind that never been touched about gender equality awareness. And to top that, they did this in their school zone, the dormitory. So the victims are mostly, of course, students. Third, this lack of education and taboo talk also lead to social judgment. Ironically, we live in a world where the victims of sexual harassment usually seen as youth. Society judgment also creates this image of virginity and somebody parts as a pride, self-concept as a crown for someone that if you're being touched on these parts, then you no longer have pride, you no longer have value. It can lead the victim to choose to stay silent about their case and support the perpetrator to do this treatment to more people. Speak by improving the report service and erase those false mentality. It would give more courage to the victims and more fright to the perpetrators. By taking the case seriously, it will dread and threaten them. It's stating that this issue is not prevalent and the government will give severe punishment for the perpetrators. So it will make them think twice to make someone sexually uncomfortable. And last, in order to achieve that, we must enforcing strong sexual harassment law. And by this, not only the law that we must to enforce, but the surveillance, the punishment, the easier access and process to get the victim justice. The unreachable and long and complicated process has been burdened the sexual harassment victims. It gives people more opportunities to sexually violating others. And so, from those point of fact that I have provided, ladies and gentlemen, let's agree that we all have to take those actions immediately. Spread more awareness, education, knowledge about sexual violence, gender equality, report mechanism of sexual abuse, so that all of those things can lead into a better morality in the society. Create an environment that's safe for young generation, a society that embrace youngsters, embrace young spirit, embrace victims of sexual violence. Create a world that frightens sexual abuse perpetrators, a world where young generation would feel guarded, where victims know that they are defended, a world where there's a strong, solid, and steady law that guarantees justice for the victim. Only when we are finally able to go through this, sexual harassment against youth can be finally eradicated in our society. And you and I, we are in this together. We have to fight for this, for a better world, a safe world for everyone, for the young generation, the sparkling spirits, the strong soul. As Martin Luther King Jr. would say, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. Thank you.
That was quite a passionate speech by Andra. Mr. Logi, do you have any takes on the speech?
Yeah. Is Andra, is she here right now?
She is.
Oh, hi, Andra or Andira, is it?
Andra, sir.
Andra. Oh, hi, Andra. That was very bold speech. I mean, that is very. It's not an easy topic to choose by everyone, and you have made it clear of your voice. It's a good thing. But let me try to point out some suggestions for you in a very short time. First of all, you actually are talking quite a lot of topics here. So I would suggest you to be more focused on one only. So rather than, as an illustration for you, so rather than punching many times but with no power, uh, I would suggest you to become, like the animation One Punch Man, where you just punch one time, but it hits hard, like hard. So choose one particular topic that will relate with the audience that you think, okay, I think this is going to be very much engaging with the audience, and use that instead. So you don't have to go too broad. Instead, just focus, just be narrow and just focus. And then also use easier vocabularies when you are speaking. This is something that is most people need to know, something that you want people to know and to be more aware about. So trust me, do not use jargons unless if the audience is educated enough and they know well all this so-called jargons or um, sophisticated vocabularies that you're using. Unless they know it, then it doesn't matter. But if it's for public, you should choose something that is easily to understand. You have made an eye contact, but I could say that you were very much in a rush. So slow it down. Okay, you don't have to speak too fast. You should also exercise more on your intonation. Um, exercise that more. Use space. Okay, you don't have to speak too fast, and you give pause so that you will have more dramatic effects, just like I said in advance before, and to grab the attention of the people. You use more gestures as well. Okay, and try to deliver instead of reading, because I think I could see that you were trying to read as well. And yeah, trying to connect your best to the audience. One more thing. If you want to put informations on the videos, make sure number one, it is brief or short enough, because if you put too many informations on the screen and then with a little letters, then people wouldn't be able to read. So make sure it's just one message or two message, but it's clear enough for people to read. And then make sure that the duration is long enough for people to be able to read all of the message that you're putting on the screen. And also when you were using points, number one, number two, number three, I think it will be nice if you put, for example, number one is about this, number two is about this, put that on the screen as well. That's the benefit of making a video. You could deliver easily the point that you're trying to tell to your audience. Other than that, thank you for giving a very bold voice for everyone. This is a very good awareness. Nice answer.
Thank you, sir.
You're most welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Lucky, for the critique. Again, I quite agree with the topic. That's very heavy, and that's something that most people need to hear, especially nowadays. But next, we got Gwen Alika Renata.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, and greetings of you. Hello everyone, honored judges. I hope everyone is well. Before I start, I would like to express my gratitude for giving me the chance to take part in this competition. It is an exciting opportunity for me. First off, I would like to say a few words about myself. Hi, hello, my name is Gwen Alika Renata. I am a 10th grader student studying in SMA Negeri 21, Jakarta. Social media. It is definitely something that is not rarely heard by us on our daily basis. I mean, some of us might have just finished scrolling through Instagram or perhaps Twitter. Who knows, you name it. Because I'm convinced that we all have at least one social media application on our mobile phones. Let's just begin with our own nation. Based on the given research that I've read, aside from being the most populous country in Southeast Asia, Indonesia is the country with the second highest number of TikTok users, with a given number of 109.6 million of people having a TikTok account on their mobile phones. People apparently have many different kinds of opinions and perspectives encircling the purpose or the real definition of social media. Some may say, social media is just a platform. Some other may say, social media is a lifestyle. But if there's one thing that I could agree to the most, it's the fact that social media has been a part of our lives. Back in middle school, I did a little research about the first thing that my friends do the moment they wake up in the morning. As I gathered their answers, apparently, the most common collective answer was the fact that they actually rather check their respective social media accounts rather than even checking whether their likes were working or not. Social media is a media where you can socially interact with other people, distance or not. From the name itself, you know it's not a lifestyle, but it is indeed a media. It is used for various reasons like communicating, looking out for references, ideas, learning new skills we've been dying to know about. But in our current modern society, it is used to share your achievements, how you looked today or last Friday, to brag about yourself. There is completely nothing wrong with sharing about your life, of course. But this is where it could lead to a negative aspect being a disadvantage. People may view your achievement as a material to bring themselves down by comparing. Looking beautiful in your social media platform is now a material used to make people feel insecure about themselves. Can we really blame the user who uploaded it though? No, certainly not. They may not have the intentions to bring anyone down, but it is our mind messing us up. We want to be just like them, which results in being hard on ourselves that could affect our mental health. Speaking of mental health, the good news is the fact that we've also been using our platforms more useful by spreading awarenesses about it. Aside from mental health, there are many other social phenomena that we've been easily spreading awareness about as well. Now imagine this. After years of disappearance, a famous YouTuber finally makes his grand return with a new video upload. People flock into his comment section with questions such as, "Where have you been?" or "Why haven't you been uploading?" This shows how attached we are to our social medias. Without realizing, we have been turning it into a source to validate ourselves. Social media creates a certain standardization to our mindsets. Now try making social media into a positive thing. Make it an advantage to change the world. We are blessed to be in this modern society where everything is just one click away or even one scroll away. One of the advantages I've mentioned before was communicating. You can interact with whoever around the world without having to spend a penny. People use social media for their income as well, which is where the advantages comes in. You can sell and promote whatever you want, and with netizens' true and genuine words, they can even boost you. We can make social media a positive impact in our lives if we try and work together. Use your brain when it comes to or cope with the entire life. Now, since has also but what would this be as sharp as of your and disadvantages if we know how to use it wisely? After all, we're all humans and have feelings, so it is better to work together in making this community full of love and respect instead of bringing one another down. Before I end my speech, allow me to add a few more words. Everything in social media is mostly fabricated. It is not real, it is fake. Don't compare your awesome fairy tale range of your life, its ups and downs, to someone else's online curated persona. Your life is interesting already because you're perceiving it through the lens of your own life, and nobody else will be able to experience these lenses. Use the social media as a tool and not as a source of validation. And lastly, I quote, "Comparison is the thief of joy." In closing, allow me to say thank you, and I apologize if there were some words that were less pleasing. Thank you once again for giving me this pleasant and awesome opportunity. I very much enjoyed every second of it. Lastly, I hope this topic will be taken seriously because social media has been a part of our lives now. Thank you once again, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Leaving off from the last speech, this one was quite lighthearted. Mr. Billy, what do you think?
Renata, good evening, Renata.
Good evening, sir.
Renata, you are very excellent. You are very excellent, Renata.
Thank you, sir.
You have already introduced yourself. Your 10 level in school, yeah. Okay. You have very broad your presentation. Okay. Your topic is the social media advantages and disadvantages. I suggest you, Renata, for instance, deliver your ideas per point, advantages, and elaborate. Maybe two topic sentence and elaborate it. And secondly, disadvantages. You deliver two or three, at least two topic sentence and elaborate it. So that means your presentation becomes much more interesting, I think. It is okay. You have good presentation, but that is speech. This is academic. Academic writing, that's mean, or academic speaking has the rule how to present the point you are going to present to your audience. My question: what is your purpose to present it? Renata? What is your purpose?
It's to deliver the exact comprehension of what is actually the purpose of social media, as well as the advantages and disadvantages, of course, based on the title, right? I need to encircle it surrounding the title. But aside from that, I would like people to know and to be aware that we have to be a little bit more careful on using social media, as well as more, yeah, as I said before, more careful on using social media, since like it's a sensitive platform. Like it could impact your life and others easily. So yeah, I would like to spread awarenesses about it, to be exact.
I'd like to give you suggestion, Renata. The purpose of the speech is to encourage or to persuade the readers. To encourage. That means they have to be careful of the social media. Or secondly, to persuade the readers, they may not do like the bad thing of social media. And then the last conclusion is you must take the little bit from the advantages and take the little bit from the disadvantages. So your presentation become excellent. Thank you, Renata. Thank you, Renata. Thank you, Mr. MC.
Thank you.
Again, quite a nice speech. Last time from the last one, it was kind of lighthearted in comparison. And with that, we got our next participant, which is Jocelyn K. Jahyat.
Respected judges and fellow friends, hello, my name is Jocelyn K. Chadi, and before this beautiful and sunny day, I've been given a chance to address about our digital world we live in now. I would like to speak about the topic regarding to advantages and disadvantages of social media. As you all may know, in this world today we are living in the digital era. Every day we use social media as a platform to interact with people. Social media such as Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and much more. This leads to a lot of pros and cons. Some people think that social media is a good thing and we can make many benefits and we can make the most use of it. But some people disagree. Some people think social media is a bad thing. Well, just as they say, just as there are two sides to every story, there are two sides to everything. So let's take a look at the advantages and disadvantages of social media. We'll decide for sure whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. First up, advantages. If you think about it, there's a lot of advantages to social media. Like it can be a platform for us to interact with people that are far away. With just one click away, we can communicate with like American people while being in another country. That's how easy social media makes it. Second, with social media, we can access education more efficiently. It can also aid us to improve our creativity and knowledge by staying informed about events that are happening around the globe. Third, we can also share anything, like just about anything on social media, like a work of art, a song, a poem, anything. By doing so, we can build a connection with people around the globe. And lastly, social media also can be a platform for us to promote things and share awareness. After advantages, we have disadvantages. There are a lot of disadvantages too. First, cyberbullying. Teenagers tend to want to be popular in social media. As time goes, people will criticize of what you do in social media, and that affects the mental health of the teenager. Second, lack of privacy. Incidents like stalking on social media, identity theft, personal attacks, and much more are something we are facing right now in social media. People tend to misuse information and that will put someone in danger. Third, the fear of missing out. After doing some research, I found that long use of social media will make you addicted to it. Addicted to checking out other people on social media and makes you compare yourself with one another. This feeling leads to you checking every notification on your phone and just to make yourself feel better. And lastly, spreading false information. This case is the most often you'll find in social media community. People will spread false information just to create discord between people. And that's all from me about advantages and disadvantages of social media. In the end of the day, social media is like a predator that waits the prey. We have to be careful so we don't get eaten by it. In other words, we have to be careful on using social media. Don't misuse it. Instead, use it for the good of the people. And remember your surroundings. That's all. I hope this speech I've brought to you all be useful and be a reminder to us to not misuse social media. Thank you for listening all.
Uh, Another wholesome speech by Jocelyn this time. Mr. Lucky, do you have anything to add to this speech?
Hello.
So, yeah.
Sorry. I was losing a bit of connection there. Hi, Jocelyn. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hi, can you hear me? Oh my God, I'm not using my glasses. Okay, no problem. Okay. First of all, I would like to in again, it's about a technical thing. If you know, in your video, the frame was covering part of your forehead, and you know, I know it may have nothing to do with the speech itself, but I just would like to point out that when we are delivering a speech through a certain media, then we have to also be aware of those technical things. So again, it will help you to it will not, especially for the audience, it will help them to focus only on the message of what you're trying to deliver rather than technical things, you know, something like what just happened on your video, but no problems. Okay, so next time you could prepare better.
Aduh.
Mr. Billy, sir, excuse me, you're unmuted.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
It's okay. Mr. Billy is always on fire all the time. Love you, Mr. Billy. Big fan right here. Okay. Sampai mana tadi itu ya? Okay. All right. That's first. And then I don't know, maybe this is just me, but you look relaxed, but also a bit stressed out. At least that's what came across to me on me. Like it's like you're questioning whether this is have I done good enough? Is it good enough? Is this the right way to deliver? Is it the right way to speech? I don't know, maybe that was just me, but I somehow get that impression from your video. So hopefully I was wrong, but perhaps it is related with your expression. So when we so when we communicate, I would like to give you share you a little bit of knowledge from what I know about communication. When we communicate with every part of our body, actually. So when you speak, for example, you want to say something that is happy, they will say, hi, hello, today I'm going to deliver. Okay, for example, if it's something happy, but for example, if you want to say about war, it is something more serious, then you're going to use this kind of expression. Today, the world is not okay. We are going to face a recession due to what happened between Russia and, okay, I forgot the name of the country, the other one, but something like that. Basically, when you communicate, all of your body and words have to solid. So it becomes one solid message to the audience. Okay, I believe you. I believe with everything you said. So I think you have to also exercise again the way you deliver the message with the expression, with the right expressions, so that people would instantly know, okay, she's sad, okay, she's happy, okay, this, so that means this is a happy topic, okay, or this is a serious topic, okay. So that so don't be stressful, just chill out. This is, have fun, you're still young. Oh my god, I wish I'm as young as you are. So um do not, again, I'm going to say it again and again. Hopefully you're not going to uh, hopefully you're not going to be bored by me saying this again and again. Deliver, do not read, just deliver. Okay, make sure that you have prepared whatever that you're going to say, put it on points, and try to exercise that again and again. The Your confidence will show when you know that you are ready. Okay, so when you're ready, then it will be shown. So just make sure that you are preparing yourself well. And then because especially when you're making a video, you're not standing on stage, you're making the video, the focus is here. People could see even your wrinkle. I know you don't have any wrinkle right now. I do. But since this is a video, people can zoom in, like they could actually see you. They could even sense, even smell your fear if you are afraid, or they can actually feel you're confident when you are confident about it. So video is quite, in a way, like two sides of knives. Like it can be very much convincing, easier for to convince people, or the other way around, because you have, the focus is even bigger on you rather than when you're on stage. Okay, and then more gestures. Use more gestures. In the videos, you feel like you have small room, just like other participants. You make your own. You make your room bigger. You stand up and use these gestures so that people would do not use it too much, by the way. So just use it enough, but use gestures and just have fun. Do not stress out. Do not take it seriously. Just have fun. Just say it and just do whatever you want to do. Okay, just have faith in it. Be confident, and I know you'll do great. You've done great, by the way, but you'll do much better. Okay, Jocelyn.
Thank you, sir.
No, you're very much welcome.
Thank you for that, Mr. Lucky. The point I take from your criticism was just to have fun, because we're still so young. But next, we have actually a student participant from quite a far place, Bali, actually, than Pasar. Next is Niputu Cherry Pramata Rudana.
In social life, we often find ourselves not compatible with someone's ways of thinking. It is normal because we are not made by one system of mind. But sometimes one couldn't just let it go, and that's when things have gotten worse. But implementations of weapons and violence just became the most powerful of all. Ladies and gentlemen, it is called conflict. And it is one of the most general things that happen in society. What makes it different is when the conflict couldn't find a good resolution for both sides, and each side tends to use violence to win and will affect a lot of people. War happened when two countries or more fights to reach some thoughtless win. Let's be clear, war is a reckless act based on someone's ego that grew bigger than their empathy. It's not pride they'll obtain, it's despair. Good afternoon, my name is Niputu Chari Permatardana from SMA Negeri 1 Denpasar, and now you'll be listening to War and the World, its effect on people relation, in my opinion. In February this year, we've been surrounded by the fear of the world war that once occurred will come to light again. In 2022, a modern age where peace has its own establishment and where every country united to find a solution for our main problem, the pandemic, Russia declared war on Ukraine based on political issues. It was a global sensation, of course. Many of people stated their opinions about the war, and thousands of articles were published within 10 minutes of the news. And yet, we could only hope for the best that could protect the innocents there. In a week, several buildings had exploded. Nearly a dozen of people killed in the ruins. By now, it has increased to nearly 61,207 dead from both sides. Part of them were civilians that never had any military training. And 396 of them were children. They just died because they were weak. Even so, the next one is the armies, the protector, the nation's most loyal people who died on the battlefield to protect their loved one at home. These victims are hardly recognized too, and they are not only fell in the Ukrainian war, but also in Syria, Afghanistan, Colombia, and even our country, Indonesia, experienced it too in the past. Let me give you one example. On May 23, 1997, in Banjarmasin, there was a tragedy. They named it as a Grayish Friday. It was named after the color of the sky that full of dark gray color smoke that came out from the building that was burned. It was a fight between Indonesian people with Indonesian people based on political and religious issues. Approximately 123 people lost their lives that day. It could be more. Ladies and gentlemen, humans on. But what if the person suddenly disappeared from this world? Ladies and gentlemen, the creation of a bond doesn't happen in short time. So does the process to get over it. It could take years of grief to finally get everything together. The same thing also happened with the family and the deceased. During the war, families are separated in the name of conscription. Children lost their fathers, mothers lost their son. Fighting for peace is never a guarantee that their families will come back. It is also linked with an institution that lost one person at war will walk on a different path based on the ideology that changed. Some may run for prosperity, but some actually dig their own poverty. Some humans could really walk with big impact in their shoes. We lost one leader, we lost year of evolution. But what if they don't die on the battlefield? Well, some runaways are not getting enough accommodation to flee. They ended up starving and dying while hiding from the enemy, like what's happened in Syria's war. People and families that were administrated between the two countries that involved in war are forced to decide on which side they'll stand on. Some may cut off their relation to protect their own family. Ladies and gentlemen, war is not a resolution. War is an ugly, harsh tragedy that happened to humanity. People dying on the battlefield is not an achievement. People suffering from inflation is never something to be celebrated of. People disappear by massacre, building destroyed to prove one powerful military. The demolition of people's relation will be the cost of the worst scenario of a fallen civilization. The human mind is the foundation of control in this earth. If one leader disappears unexpectedly, there will surely be a divergence in every social system. We all know what happened in the darkest age. The same thing will occur again when we lost our scientists, teachers, and every educator. Ladies and gentlemen, war ruined the world and the people in it. In this era, guns and swords are no longer relevant. In every problem or conflict we have, we should prioritize the righteousness of people. In the eye of anger and revenge, we should think about the children, mothers, elders, people with chronic disease that couldn't move from one hospital to another in a short time, and homeless people that don't have anywhere to flee. We are the future. Choose peace. Ladies and gentlemen, this speech might end by this paragraph, but I hope the meaning of it will stay in your inside forever. My name is Jerry, and thank you for having me.
And quite an eye-opening speech there by Niputu, a quite quotable one too. Mr. Lucky, your take maybe on the speech? I think Mr. Lucky is having some technical difficulties. Maybe the other judges can have a say on the speech. Mr. Gito, maybe? Do you have anything to add to the speech, maybe? Mr. Gito, you seem to...
Oh, yeah, right. Right. Just please excuse my background, okay? So we are running out of time. I need to keep it up. So for ini Putu Cherry, it's about the war, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's about the war. And okay, right. First of all, the way you describe the war is really great because you try to elaborate the suffering, the sadness, and the frightening stuff that is that is going on and on during the war. And in my point of view, that was really great because it feels like you are not only telling what is going on, but you are trying to give the sense or the essence of the war to the audience. And that's really great because we as the audience, especially me, I feel like I'm in their shoes right now. That's really great. I highlight that. And then for the next one, I would like to comment on the way you deliver this idea. It was really great. The facial expressions, the movement of your hands, everything is really, really cool. And I have suggestions over here. Because you are talking about the war, perhaps it will be your best interest for the future, who knows, you know. It will be better for you to exemplify it or to take some examples of the best, not the best, the cruelest war ever in Europe. Yeah. You would take some examples in the past and then you would try to compare those two, and then you try to elaborate the difference between those war, and then after you find the difference, you try to mention like why the war that you are talking about should be our main focus right now. Why? What makes it different? That's it. Yeah. So by the time you provide this kind of differences to the audience, they will mention like, this is interesting. It's not the same, just like the previous word that I have heard of. So I need to pay attention more over here. It's different, absolutely different. See, because nowadays, the more different you are, the better attention you will get, right? It's not about sensation, by the way. And then for the next one, I would like to say, good job. Thank you. Get back to Ivan.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you, Mr. Gito, for the critique again for me too. Next up, we got another participant actually from Bali. Komang Raditya Baswara Pinati.
We live in a world where social media has become one of the most enormous aspects of our lives. Checking our social media has basically become a habit that's planted into our daily routine, and it of course has benefited us immensely. However, there are many unknown dangers of social media that could jeopardize us in various ways. And by that, I feel obliged to talk about the serious consequences of using social media. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Komang Raditya Baswara Pinate from SMA Negeri 1 Denpasar, and I'm here to tell you just that. I think of social media as a platform for us to share anything that we want and allows people from all over the world to connect with each other. I'm sure we're familiar with Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or maybe Twitter. There are hundreds of social media applications that allows us to share anything, and for that specific reason, it draws users from various age groups. In our country, Indonesia alone, it is said that there are more than 191.4 million active users of social media, with 48 million of those being teenagers. What's even crazier is that this means 3 out of 4 teenagers in Indonesia are users of social media, with Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube taking up the top 3 spots. But to no surprise, social media is an incredibly beneficial platform indeed. One of the most priceless benefits, though, is that it allows us to embrace our passion. It triggers our creativity. Social media helps us channel our hobbies, the things that we love. We can post videos of our singing, for example, or pictures of our drawing. Social media allows people from all over the world to connect and engage with each other just by the touch of a hand, and information is spread very vastly through social media. This contributes to the fact that social media is a very great source of information, and communication nowadays are so much more efficient thanks to social media and the internet. And with much more efficient communication, this makes social media serve as the perfect platform for us to raise awareness towards urgent issues that need further recognition. Climate change, bullying, racism, gender inequality are all examples of these issues. And of course, social media is one of the best sources of entertainments in our world today, which is not really a surprise anymore. With all these amazing benefits, you would think that social media is harmless, right? I mean, it's just so beneficial and entertaining. How could it harm us? Well, the answer to that isn't really what I think you would want to hear. See, social media might sound like heaven on earth, but it does bring a number of pitfalls. As teenagers, we of course find social media very addictive, as we tend to spend more and more time scrolling through our For You page or our Instagram Explore page. What we don't realize is that this contributes to the problem of phone addiction. Yes, according to a study by Pew Research Center, 56% of teenagers in the USA have been considered to be addicted to their phones. And with social media, this problem will only get worse and worse. Excessive usage of our phones are a very big threat to our mental health, as it can affect our learning and cognitive skills directly and cause dependency. People with phone addiction would feel extremely distressed and anxious when they don't have their phones with them. I feel like phone addiction is still a very undermined problem that needs to be taken care of much more seriously. Just imagine what would happen to our young generations if we keep promoting the excessive usage of phones. Thus, social media isn't always a secure facility. I'm sure we're all aware with the term bullying, and sadly, social media serves almost like a perfect silver platter for bullies to victimize others through a type of bullying called cyberbullying. We all know how severely bullying can affect one's mental health. In a worst case scenario, it can cause crippling depression or maybe even suicide. Other than that, social media also offers a number of security concerns. Social media has failed to stop their users from being concerned about scams, data leaks, account hackings, and the spread of hoax or false information. With the growing number of safety concerns, it makes people more and more afraid to act on social media, when in fact, social media is supposed to be a free platform, a place, like I said, where people can share anything, where people are connected, hobbies are channeled, and passions are embraced. Yet, these purposes are getting more and more defeated with the growing numbers of safety terrors on social media. All things considered, the best action for us to take is to learn how to use social media wisely. First and foremost, we should know our limits. We should know our boundaries. It should be clear that there's time for productivity and time for leisure. Second of all, we should avoid oversharing data. We don't know everyone on social media, and we don't know how they can exploit our personal data. We can see this just from the newly trending case of Bjorka. And so it's best that we keep most of our personal data private from social media. Number 3, and one of the best tips I've learned, is to never believe everything you see on social media. Like I said, social media gives us the right to share anything that we want. And sadly, that also includes false information and biased news. And so upon receiving information from social media, we should validate its truth and accuracy with other sources to avoid getting eaten by hoaxes. Now, you might be thinking, What are these issues? I've never even experienced them. You're just too extra. Well, you may have never experienced them yourselves, but there are countless of real-life cases of these terrors attacking people. And I agree that it's better for us to be safe than be sorry, right? And of course you would agree with me too, right? And so I think that these steps are crucial for us to avoid the unwanted dangers of social media attacking us. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, social media is still an amazing innovation that is extremely beneficial for all of us. Yet, it still carries out a number of hidden dangers that aren't to be made fun of. That is why we ought to know how to manage our social media properly, wisely, and carefully to try and avoid the hazards that exist.
Quite the expressive speech there by Komang. Maybe Mr. Billy can have a few say in the speech.
Can you give me time? 2 minutes, stop, because there's still Ajan now. 3 minutes. Ajan in my place. Okay.
Yeah. We will wait for the Ajan to finish before we start again. Thank you. Yes, then are the Azan in yours then?
Okay. Halo. Halo, Komang Raditya, Ken, kabare?
Halo, Mister.
Ken,
Kabarnya becek, Mister.
Oh, bede. Balik kije. Kije ngoyong Bali.
Tiareng dan pasar, Mister.
Dan pasar kije.
Dan pasar timur.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Komang. Okay. Komang, I'd like to give you suggestion of the content of your speech. Okay, you just listen. You may write down. You may note. Okay, first. Appendages, make point per point about appendages and elaborate. Secondly, these appendages is make point per point. You may write down the effect of the appendages. You that does it, but you must write down. Okay. Okay. After you write down it, you make conclusion. Take from the little bit from the appendages and little bit for appendages. Okay. I'd like to ask you, Mr. Komang. Mr. Komang. Okay. What is your purpose to deliver your speech?
My purpose is that I want people to know that through my video, we know that social media is very beneficial. We use it every day. But people don't know that social media is very dangerous as well. It can harm us really badly. And so I want people to know that fact, and I want people to manage their social media wisely so that they wouldn't get eaten by the hazards that exist on social media.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Komang. That's mean you persuade the readers. You encourage that mean that you are worried now. That's mean you give that you are alarmed. You give alarming to the people now. So that is why, Mr. Komang, you must stress one sentence to support of your topic sentence. You must give attention and give special your eyes, so the people are interested in your presentation. If you put like that, if you put like the your presentation is the structurally definition, test statement, topic sentence, elaborate like that, so your speech become interesting. Really, Komang. Okay, thank you, Komang. Thank you, Mr. MC. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Billy, for the critique again. I quite like how Komang is very expressive in the video. The accent is there, everything is there. I quite like the video he sent over. But next up, we got another Komang actually from Denpasar. Komang Luna Sidi Anjani Wijaksa.
We all agree that we are condemning war. The ego of a certain irresponsible actor has resulted in thousands or even millions of deaths all around the world. They have killed innocent people outside the war country, created an everlasting trauma, and even threatened people outside the war zone. Hence, we are going to talk about the impact of war on people's relation globally. First, we will deep dive on how different stances can trigger war and eventually affect people's relations. And second, how war could also create a permanent psychological impact. Now, let's talk about how different stances that trigger war can affect people's relation. Stance is the foundation that people use to see, to view the world. Everyone can have a stance, including us as individuals and the government. Let's use the recent Russian and Ukraine war as an example. The war has a pretty long background of historical opposite stances, starting from the Black Sea Naval Fleet Division, Donbass War, Crimea takeover, and the relation between Ukraine with NATO and European Union that is contrast with Russia's stance of anti-NATO and anti-European Union. Now, what's happening these days is that Russia wants to recognize the independence of Donetsk, which is a region in Ukraine, for the sake of peacekeeping. But Ukraine, of course, wants to protect its own region, and so there goes the war. This long historical opposite stance between the two countries also affects the impression of global society towards the citizen of both countries. But actually, neither being born in Russia or Ukraine is wrong. It is the perpetrator of the war that put people in danger that is wrong. However, the innocent Russians and Ukrainians are also impacted by all that. Based on international humanitarian law, there are rules for war, in case it really happens, of course. One of the rules is to not attack the civilians, but the reality is people outside the military are also affected. Those people are being targeted just because they are coincidentally born in the war country. For example, Russia claimed that the assault on Ukraine is aimed only at military targets, but bridges, schools, residential neighborhoods have been hit since day one of the invasion. 2 days after that, there have been at least 240 civilians casualties, including 3 children. Besides people inside the war country, the relations on global society also impacted. According to Human Rights Watch, reports have surfaced of people directing anger over the war that targeted Russians. Since the start of the war, restaurants owned by Russians in Berlin reported receiving threats. A German-Russian school in Berlin was set on fire. Bottles were thrown at a Russian Orthodox church, and Russian children have reported bullying at school. This Russophobic or hate towards Russian is spreading to even the non-war countries. They are being targeted for the anger of people who are upset about the war. This really shows how people relation change due to the difference in stances. But besides those disadvantages that affect people directly, there's also some indirect effects of this war. Or, as we will talk about now, is the post-war psychological impact. PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, is a mental health disorder that gets triggered after terrifying or traumatic event. This happens to war veterans too for obvious reasons. About 11% to 20% veterans have PTSD in the given year of missions in Afghanistan and the Iraq War in 2001. Life after war is certainly not easy. They may lose a hand or two, but not only the physical impact, they're also heavily affected by the psychological effect to traumatic things that they saw in the war. Extreme violence, blood everywhere, and anxiety of being feared of being cut and getting shot by the enemy. Things that we consider normal can trigger them having flashbacks of those war, like loud and unexpected noises like fireworks that reminds them of guns and bombing, people walking up behind them that sounds like people running and chasing over them. People with PTSD have trouble with their close family relationships or friendships. Yet the 5% to 10% of people with PTSD may have lasting relationship problems, such as the first one, they may feel distant from others and have less interest in social activities. Second, they can also have anxiety disorder, which is a medical condition, includes symptoms of intense anxiety and long-term and overwhelming fear of social situations. This fear can make it very difficult to spend time in social relationships or to do things that are likely to be the result of traumatic events. And the third one is even though some are still participating in social relations, they may also be overprotective towards their loved ones. And that shows how psychological impact, which is PTSD, can permanently change the relation after a war ends. Lastly, to close this speech, I would like to express my deepest condolences for the people that experience war, especially the Russia and Ukraine war in the status quo. We never want any human in this world to experience physical attack or hate or even psychological disorder caused by unscrupulous ambition of certain people. Everyone, let's make peace and not war. That is all my speech for today. I'm Luna Dujaksara. Thank you for listening.
Quite the heartwarming speech there by Luna or Komang. I'm sorry. Mr. Sugito, do you have anything to add?
So Komang Luna, it's about the war between Ukraine and Russian, yeah? Relations, the relations impact. So first of all, I would like to appreciate the example that you took for this speech, which is, Russian and Ukrainian war. This is an example, right? This is an example. I really appreciate there are lots of data that you gave to us. However, the length of this example is a bit longer than I thought. Normally, if we try to provide an example, it should be the length is just like, not too long, not too short. Okay, so remember this is just an example, so it should be supportive enough to the main idea of the topic, the main idea of the speech itself. Do not try to make like this example becomes, more dominant than the theme of your speech. That's what I want to underline. But overall, it's good. And also, because you mentioned something like, people relations over here, there is a war in Russia and in Ukraine. So we as Indonesian, how do we cope with that? Our relation with Russian, I did not see some kind of, I did not see your opinion over there. Of course, or if there is a war, we Indonesian will have some kind of stigma for the Russian, right? Yeah, for example, like, I have lots of friends in Facebook or maybe in TikTok, but because of the war, you try to block them or something like that. You know, so you need to elaborate that kind of possibilities. And then for the next one, uh, I would like to talk about the example that you provide for the Middle East war. That's also great. And for the next one, about the PTSD that you mentioned. The data, it's incredible, really. The effect, that's also incredible as well. But I would like to have, how can I say it? It will be more interesting and fascinating if I could find the answer of my question right here. The question is, how do we, especially Indonesian, face people with PTSD? How? Yeah, how? And then also, if we talk about the PTSD, there are lots of refugees in Indonesia, right? Most of them came here as an not legally an immigrant. So some of them got some that kind of PTSD too. So we as local, how do we help them? Should we ignore them because like, oh, you're not Indonesian, so it is not my concern to be a part of it, or blah blah blah. Yeah. So I would like to underline the people relations. When you talk about the relations, you need to have a wider frame. Yeah. The A and B, what is the relations? What is the impact? The D and C, what is the relations and what is the impact? That's it. Overall, oh my God, your performance, that was really great. Facial expressions, the movement of the hand, and the intonation, God, breathtaking. I like that. That's it from me. Thank you very much. I give it back to Ivan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Sugito. A really interesting critique. I actually love how you brought up Russia phobic because in the beginning of the COVID pandemic, there's a thing called Asian phobic, so that was quite interesting. Thank you for all our friends from Denpasar, a bright future ahead of you all. But next up, we got Mary Bonita Sirait from 21 Senior High School. Thank you.
Good morning, fellow judges, everybody. My name is Mary Bonita Sirait from 21 State High School. Today, I'll be reading my speech on how does one's youth affect their future. Before I begin, I would like to express my gratitude for being able to partake in this particular competition. Now, I would like to start with one question. Who are the youth? The word youth originates from the Old English word of jiong, meaning young people. Today, there are nearly 2 billion young people in this whole wide world, accounting for nearly 20% of the global population and making up the majority in developing nations. It is the largest youth group ever recorded in this world's history. A world that's full of endless transformations, forever weaving uncertainty. And in the center of it all are these young people. These young people are in stages of life, of curious nature, exploring their surroundings and growing within them, and most notably, experiencing this ever-dynamic world. They come from diverse backgrounds, from widespread parts of this world. Their backgrounds have certainly shaped who they are, and therefore, they have their own stories to tell. The stories of the older ones will come to an end, marking the end of their journey and their impact to this whole wide world, and new ones will begin, and a new generation or cycle of leaders are reborn. Yet the truth is, although they are still young and some of the older stories haven't come to an end, the stories of the youth have already struck, making influences and shifting society. Their voices are loud and clear. The youths of today aren't just simply future adults. No, they're not. They're the leaders and change makers of the world today and tomorrow. Like I said before, this is a dynamic world that's filled with uncertainty, or rather, twist. A particular twist happened in the beginning of 2020 that changed the ways of this society. The dawn of the coronavirus turned global pandemic has led the world into major transformations. And the world was met with various chaos, from the global crisis to the fears of global economies, Many lives were doomed, and young people from around the world felt a change in the nature they thought they knew and felt its effect. Millions of lives were lost this pandemic. These losses were witnessed and felt by millions of youth worldwide. Economies and enterprises come to a fail, and many fell into unemployment, poverty, and misery. These were also felt by young people worldwide. And these young people, at the earlier stages of their lives, have experienced such turn of events. And what does this all mean to them? It shapes them. From the way they look at this world, realizing the reality of it, they may develop a sense of empathy and ways forward by the ideas of combating it. This may motivate innovation and ideas for a better change, offering better solutions to help those in need. Thus, we see these youths as change makers. From the way they survive in this world, because it's known that in a pandemic, what is most important is in fact survival. How many youths fight for their lives to survive in this pandemic? Millions of youths. It sharpens their survival skills and strengthens them. From the way they live in this world. Now, the pandemic has offered a very different way of living, and these youths are firsthand to experience the transformation of society, seeing the glimpse of what future societies may look like, and being trained or perhaps being witness of the forward world of tomorrow. Experiences shape us as it forms and expands our thoughts, inspires our way of thinking, and evolves our character. The pandemic has brought various of experiences where these youths grow within it, and whenever they're faced with similar situations possibly in the future, they are prepared for it. Ever since the 19th century, climate change has taken effect to this world. Whereas radical industrial revolutions brought about radical changes within our climate, the lives of ours and of these youths are affected, such as changes in temperature, causing changes in rainfall, resulting in more severe and frequent storms, or meanwhile, the exact opposite, where water scarcity is happening and the lives of living beings are now in distress. Yet, these youths here, they are not victims, rather, they are agents of hope. They too contribute in change. Young people here, they're becoming more aware of the challenges and risks presented by climate crisis, and therefore, they seek to achieve a more sustainable shift by solutions to combat climate change. Young people here, they have made their voices clear from around the world, and it shows that they have the power to hold the people in power here accountable. Their message is clear here, that the older generation has failed, and it's the young people who will pay with their very futures. In distressing times even, youths do not become victims, they never become victims. Rather, they become agents or perhaps the saviors that bring about better change to this world. They care for their future, and from this moment on, they put up efforts to provide the best for themselves and generations to come. Now, the world has now shifted to a world that's defined with digital fluency and digital literacy. It brings about changes far different than what the Industrial Revolution has brought about. A boundless and borderless world. The youth here are some of the people to be able to experience this particular early wave of transformation of mankind. They're also the biggest groups to participate in this change, whether it's becoming a user that then experiences the benefits, including wide access to education and opportunities that may be enriching and to help break intergenerational cycles of poverty, or perhaps to access to information and news that then help protect one's health, safety, and rights. Or on the other hand, meanwhile, it also exposes them to the exact opposite, that is danger, exploitation, and some sort of harm that may damage them. The digital world is a world where the youths not only act as users who enjoy the fruit of benefit, or even exact opposite, but also pioneers in directing this world. The digital world of today that they experience serves as a launch pad for ideas and trends for the youth that will conduct the advancement of society. In this dynamic world, in conclusion, the epicenter of it all are these youths, they who will lead the future. What they experience today will shape them. In uncertainty or at devastating times, they are not the victims, rather the pioneers that too act as an agent of change, change makers, and agents of hope. They are the hope for the world tomorrow, and they are the leaders for the world tomorrow. That is all for my speech. I'd like to thank you so much for listening to my speech. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Quite the amazing speech there from Mary Bonita, though I might be a little biased because she's from my alma mater. Mr. Lucky, what do you think? Mr. Lucky, I'm sorry, I think you're muted.
Hi, Mary. Are you here?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm nervous, but I'm fine, and I'm ready for this.
All right. Okay, hopefully it's not going to be biased as well since I'm the alumni of your high school. So, okay, this is objective perspective. Okay. All right. First of all, I would like to say, you know, you have a tendency to speak quite fast, indicates that you are smart. If I'm not mistaken, smart people talks fast, and but it can be, especially on public speaking, it can be something that you should take a note of because you would like to people to understand. I myself since I learned a thing or two along the way on how to speak to people, the basic thing that we want to have when we talk to other people, whether it is speech or just normal conversation, is they understand what we are trying to say. Hence, I try is after a while, I know I can speak in a manner that is not as fast as before. So you should take uh, uh, take it a bit slower when you deliver. Okay, you should not use you shouldn't be too fast, but that was a very good and solid speech, by the way. And also, I noticed that you were reading again. Try to deliver instead of read. Uh, so perhaps again, making points can be helpful and useful for you. You are giving a good way of gestures. I think it can be hopefully other people could see it, and it can be another example for the other participants. The way you trust, the way you use the gestures, the way you trust the words, the way you use the right gesture for to emphasize the word. But it's just again because you're speaking too fast, people will say, itu tadi apa ya gitu, like what was that again, so you really perhaps you would like to have a bit you want to be a bit careful on that. Okay, so just don't be too serious, just have fun, just relax. All right. And then you were using emotion as well, so which is a good thing, so that people could connect with you and could engage. And since this is a video, again, you could use you could use points, perhaps to make people understand easily. Okay, the first thing that you want to deliver is about A, the second part that you would like to deliver is about B, and you could use images, like several participants in order to make your message clearer. And also, last but not least, you could find it's a whole lot of, it's a very important speech, but it's perhaps for some people it's quite a lot. Okay, so perhaps you would like to find another angle that is more relatable with the audience, because you really have to know to whom you are speaking to. You have to know your audience. So if the audience are youth, young people like us, actually like you too, not me, that you would use another angle instead and use more familiar vocabularies. And by using familiar vocabularies doesn't make you less smart. Trust me. Actually, if anything, it makes you even smarter because you know how to find the right word for the right people. Okay, you're smart already, I can tell. So yeah, perhaps by doing that, it will be benefit you and will make you even better as a public speaker. But all in all,
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Lucky, again for the comments on the speech. Quite nice speech, if I do say so myself. Indeed. Next up, we got another participant from 21 Senior High School, Atali Marsha Saskia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Good day, judges and everyone. My name is Atali Marsha Saskia. You may call me Atali, and I'm from SMA Negeri 21 Jakarta. Firstly, I would like to thank the judges for this amazing opportunity today. I hope all of us had a great day great start of the day just as I had. Of course, knowing that I'll be speaking today makes me feel very flattered and honored. A topic that I'm going to be discussing today are about the advantages and disadvantages of social media. Obviously, we all know that we use social media in our daily lives. Especially we use it for our own entertainment, such as watching YouTube, scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, or scrolling through Twitter 24/7 instead of studying. Social media enables us to connect with others and create a community, and it has become an all new world for people to stay in touch with the trends of lives people are living on social media. With our daily lives, businesses, school, and other activities on social media and the internet, have you ever wondered about the advantages and disadvantages of social media? First of all, I'm going to be talking about 3 disadvantages of social media. One of the disadvantages of social media is that it reduces face-to-face communication skills. I know we all love socializing through social media, such as chatting with our friends, playing Mobile Legends for our entertainment, or liking posts on Instagram. But we have become a community or like a society being more concerned with Facebook friends than we are with people interacting with us face to face in our daily lives. That social media made people, including me, wanted to interact with people rather than in person because it has made the process much more simpler, which attracts more people to give it a try. Did you know 93.33% of the 4.8 billion internet users are active? Because of this, it has caused people to become more antisocial than ever before. Furthermore, it could also cause cyberbullying. Yes, even though we love spending all of our time scrolling through social media, the more time we spend on social media, the higher the risk of us being cyberbullied. It could cause cyberbullying in many forms, such as discrimination, harassment, spreading private information, and many more. This could cause us to have mental health issues, such as increased stress and anxiety, depression, acting out violently, and low self-esteem. Almost 37% of kids have been cyberbully victims. Around 30% have been victimized more than once. In addition, social media is also a place of spreading fake news. Have you ever received random news through social media from someone else, but you aren't sure if the information inside is true or not? Well, be careful because there might be a chance that the news that you've received might be fake. Users often create false social media posts and share them by spreading the fake news on groups and other platforms. Almost anybody can create fake news on a trending topic and post the same on different social media platforms without any verification. The results can have a disastrous impact on knowledge of different topics. Shockingly, 60% of Indonesian internet users believe in fake news, without comparing which information is true or fake. Other than the disadvantages of social media, there are also 3 advantages of social media. One of the advantages is the beneficial use of social media for promotion and advertising. Because the entire world is connected and uses social media, people may share their business product and services with the whole world. Many world-famous brands like to use social media to promote their brands, such as Nike, Spotify, Wendy's, Chanel, and Louis Vuitton. You can freely promote your product with groups on social media, or you can have to paid adverts appear. Furthermore, other than promotion, it could also let people connect through social media. With the help of social media, you may connect with the people you desire from anywhere in the world. For example, messaging your family and friends through WhatsApp, messaging your friends through DMs and Instagram, or adding random people from Snapchat and becoming friends with them. You may make friends from anywhere or follow someone on social media. Others might also use social media to follow and contact you. Lastly, social media is beneficial to education. You may be wondering, how can social media have a beneficial impact on our education? Doesn't it distract us from school? Yes, it does, unless you focus studying in school, unlike me who procrastinate almost every night scrolling through Instagram. Other than school, you can learn from others on social media, and it delivers the best learning chances ever. Students primarily use social media to communicate with their friends and classmates with one another. A lot of students, including me, use tuition apps such as Ruang Guru, Brainly, Quizzes, and many more apps to help them study or do their homework. On social media, there are also a lot of courses from professors that university students or other people can follow. Out of all internet users, 70% of students use social media to discuss school tests and assignments with their friends and peers. To summarize everything, social media has a lot of advantages and disadvantages to ourselves. Starting from the disadvantages of social media, which are reducing face-to-face communication skills, cyberbullying, and the spread of fake news. And the advantages of social media, which are beneficial for promotion and advertising. People can connect through social media and is beneficial to our education. To conclude, there are many positive and negative side effects on ourselves when we use in social media. Sometimes we have to be more careful and use wisely when we're using it, but that doesn't mean we should take social media in a bad way. So let's make social media a better and useful place for ourselves and everyone by working together with other people and share our own experiences, spreading positivity and useful messages, stay connected with faraway friends and family, and use social media as a source to learn. That's all I need to say. Thank you so much for listening and for your patience. Hopefully what I said is very beneficial and useful for our knowledge. I apologize if there were any word errors or misinformation that I've given out, and I hope all of you liked my speech. Thank you once again, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, that one was from Adli, another student from 21 Senior High School. Mr. Billy, do you have anything to add to the speech? Mr. Billy?
Hello.
Yeah, Mr. Billy.
Atalia.
Yes, sir.
Atalia. Good evening, Atalia, yeah?
Good evening, sir.
What is your concern about your presentation? What is your concern about your presentation? What is your concern?
My concern about the presentation.
Excuse me, speak louder, please.
My concern about the presentation is explaining the advantages and disadvantages of social media and just spreading awareness about the negatives and the positive social media, and to remind everyone to use social media wisely and use it in a good way instead of in a bad way.
My question, what is your positive way about the social media? The point. Just point.
My positive way of using social media is spreading positivity. So for example, spreading mental health awareness or spreading cyberbullying awareness or any kind of awareness on social media that makes social media a positive place, and that makes social media a place where people can share their experiences with each other.
I think my suggestion to you, Marsha, okay. Your speech is very, very long. But the point is advantages. Okay. If your presentation becomes interesting, take one point. It is called topic sentence. The topic sentence must be supportive the effect of examples. I think just put maybe three appendices, maybe three. You make sure it's three, but make it elaborated. And at the appendages two. What are the appendages? Elaborate. So the people or others, your audience are interested in listening your presentation. They take point. Too long you have. Okay. Someday, if you want to make your speech, take point. You must follow the first paragraph, what you want to talk about. The first paragraph is the definition, and the test statement, what you are going to talk about. Simple. Make speech. Okay, thank you. You are very, very excellent, I think. But you have to give attention the way, the step of your presentation. Thank you, Mr. MC. Great, Marsha.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you to Mr. Billy for the critique. We're actually really close to the finish line here. Lastly, the last participant in this event is Nabiha Alisa Irawan.
Global warming has been a great threat to us all. And the main cause of global warming is human activity. The fuel we use to power our homes, our cars, businesses are releasing greenhouse gases emission. Greenhouse gases have far-ranging environmental and health effects. They cause climate change by trapping heat, and they also contribute to respiratory disease from smoke and air pollution. Extreme weather, food supply disruptions, and increased wildfires are other effects of climate change caused by greenhouse gases. Those greenhouse emissions will stay in the atmosphere for 5 decades or more. This is the reason why the temperature of Earth is rising. And this needs to be stopped. Why? Because due to this rise in temperature, the oceans are rising, coral reefs are dying, the glaciers are melting, and the polar animals have lost their home. I, as a human, don't want this to keep continuing. We need to stop this action immediately. Hello everyone, I'm Nabiha Lisa, a student from 107 Senior High School. Today, I'm going to speak about green buildings. Have you heard about green buildings? A green building is a building in its design, construction, operation, reduces or eliminates negative impact and creates positive impacts. This green building is one of the great ways to reduce greenhouse gases emission. This green building has so many benefits in many different ways, from the economical, health of the occupant, and the most important is the environmental. Basically, any building can be a green building, whether it's a home, an office, a school, a hospital, a community center, or any other type of structure, as long as they meet the several criteria. There are 7 criteria for a building to be called a green building. One of them is use of renewable energy. Scientists state that the largest resources of greenhouse emissions is 28% come from electricity production. And these green buildings can help to decarbonize electricity generations by equitably transitioning from fossil fuel-based to renewable energy sources like wind and solar to maximize energy efficiency. In Jakarta itself, as an urban city, there are some buildings that already have the certificate of green building. As these buildings change the occupant's lifestyle into a greener lifestyle, by implementing a policy to not use plastic or styrofoam in the building area. And they also manage all the things that happen inside the building, such as recycling, avoiding unnecessary wastage of goods, saving electricity, and many others. This campaign of green building is a great way to fight against climate change and global warming. But it's still a small measure of impact from these buildings. There are 7 billion people on this planet. If we all make changes, together we can all make difference. Even something as simple as reducing harmful air travel can have a positive effect. By this, you can save many lives on Earth. You can save the polar house so that the polar animals are having their home. Not only polar animals, your future child also depends on your action on this global warming matter. The time is now to do something to prevent global warming. Otherwise, it will be irreversible. This is for our better future, for our future child. And remember, the change begins with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nabiha. That was quite an interesting speech right there. Mr. Sugito?
Yep. Wait a second. Wait a second. Did you hear Saliroti over there? Yeah. Our sponsor for today, right? Saliroti. Right. So, Nabiha, global warming. It's interesting topic. As usual, I need to give my appreciation for the data that you have given to us. I love data, really. You mentioned scientists, right? But I think you kind of forgot to mention who are they, the names, yeah? And then when and where this thing took place. Ukraine, maybe, or in Canada or somewhere else, yeah? Because when it comes to data, you need to be more specific. That's it. And then for the next one, you mentioned something like plastic, styrofoam, and recycling, which reminds me about carbon footprint. Are you familiar with that word? Yeah. Please remind me if I'm wrong. Did you mention something like carbon footprint, exactly carbon footprint in your speech?
No, I didn't, sir.
Yeah, I see. So it's all right. It's all right. I'm waiting for that. Please explain carbon footprint. Carbon footprint. It's really important. Yeah, the keywords. But overall, it's good. So what I want to say here, before you try to give examples, you need to find the powerful keywords for the objects that you are going to explain. For example, like plastic, styrofoam, recycling. That's a part of this carbon footprint. This carbon footprint is the mother of all the words that you have been explaining. Yeah. So instead of saying instead of mentioning the sons, the daughters, you need to mention the mother, to address some kind of, how can I say it? Respect, perhaps. And then for the next one, it's also remind me about ambassador. Yeah, ambassador. Maybe you can relate this to, who is the ambassador for this global warming, which takes me to Miss Universe, maybe, or Putri Indonesia. You can try to create that because it's really popular. If I'm not mistaken, if there is some kind of beauty contest, they will have some topics about the issues in our environments, right? So you need to mention that. Why I'm talking about the beauty over here? Because I see your background. That's really cool. And then I noticed slight colorful, not colorful, uh, slight makeup over there, and that's really nice to see in the video. That's really important. Yeah, we could see your effort over there from your appearance. That's really important. So please keep it up. And then for the last one, I appreciate your calmness when you deliver your speech. Yeah, that's really that really presents beauty and then intelligence, and it sounds like we are in the beauty contest right now. I'm sorry. So I really appreciate that calmness over there. The speed is steady and stable. I like that. Overall, I liked it, and good luck for the future. All right, that's it from me. Thank you very much, and got back to Mr. Ivan.
Thank you, sir. For me, it's really an interesting topic because we haven't heard about green buildings in this event. But all in all, that's the last participant for today's event. The committee would like to thank all of the judges and all the participants that have taken their time out of their day and busy schedule just to be here and attend the Zoom. We would like to let all the participants know that the winners of the competition will I'm sorry, my head's kind of like a little busy right now. It will be announced October 29th. So all the participants that want to know the results, you can come back then. All in all, that's all for today's event. Thank you for everyone that has taken their time again. And that's it for me. Signing out. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hey guys, good luck.
Okay, thank you to all of you. Yeah, for those from the out of the Jakarta, from Denpasar, there are 3 students joined from Jakarta. Ya, Denpasar. Okay, Ken kabare in Denpasar. Halo. Ken kabare Denpasar, Luna. Aduh, okay. Sing apa nih? Sing Malali nih, Sing Malali.
I think they're quite busy right now, Mr. Billy.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Billy, Mr. Lucky, Mr. Sugito. We appreciate you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Pak. I'm a fan of you, by the way.
Yeah. Me too, sir. Me too.
See you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. I think the committee would like to close the Zoom. So to everyone, again, thank you, and hope you have a nice rest for today.
Thank you, Kai. Thank you, Kai.
It's 2013 and the end of my life. Freshman year's about to plummet just a little harder, but it didn't cause we kissed on that Halloween night. I bleached half my hair when I saw Zoe on your vest, but it's orange from 3% peroxide thanks to you. I needed a good cry, I headed right to Kendra's. I hated you and I hope to God that you knew. Now there's drama, found a club night, getting drunk at Rachel's. I wasn't, she doesn't even drink, but I couldn't have you sit there and think that you're better, 'cause you're older. Are you better now that we're older? High school in Jakarta, sort of modern Sparta, had no chance against the teenage suburban armadas. We were a sonata, thanks to tight-lipped fathers. Yeah, living under that was hard, but I loved you harder. High school in Jakarta, a comedy drama. I still hate you for making me wish I came out smarter. You love, hate your mother, so do I. Could have ended different then again. We went to high school in Jakarta. Natasha's moving to New York. Probably sometime in August. And I'm spending the summer in Singapore. I'm so sad I can't tell you shit anymore. I made friends with Abby this year. We're moving in March or so. And although you bring me to tears, I'm glad that we gave it a go. High school in Jakarta, American summer, had no chance against the Marxist girl with marijuana. I was your pinata, she was a star charter. Glad she gave it to you to heart, but I loved you harder. High school in Jakarta, I won't, but I wanna ask you when you talk about it, do I ever come? Say things to your mama, now we're through. Could have ended different then again. We went to high school in Jakarta. Didn't you hear Amanda's moving back to Colorado? It's 2013 and the end of my life. Freshman year's about to plummet just a little harder, but it didn't 'cause we kissed on that Halloween night. I bleached half my hair when I saw Zoe on your vest, but it's only